Hey, welcome back. This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. Do you have any idea how many silly pictures there are on the internet for falling in love? Well, that's what we're talking about today. 5 secret tricks to make him fall in love with you. Now, if you want to make a man fall in love with you, you have to make your relationship predictable, mostly because you have to create a pattern that will draw a man into your arms. But you know what? Love seems very random at times, and it also requires a certain element of unpredictability. Love can feel very out of control, which, by the way, is one of the most important traits of love. If we don't feel a little bit out of control, we don't believe it's actually real, and it won't happen. But there are a few signals that tell us when we're falling in love with someone, so I want to start out with those with you. Sign you're in love, number 1. A loss of control. If you feel like you're not able to steer the relationship, or you sense that you can't play games with him and you don't want to, well, that's a good thing. You'll feel a little thrown off because you're not the one calling the shots, and he might even seem a little bit intimidating to you. This loss of control is absolutely necessary for you guys to feel infatuated with each other, so it's a good thing. Sign you're in love, number 2, you've been rebooted. Not only do you feel like you're ready for a deep relationship, you can't even remember your ex anymore. He seems like a distant, faded memory way back there. You feel open again. Your heart is ready to love. Your brain and your heart are rebooted. And your only system error, yeah, forgive my little computer puns here, your only system error is that you're feeling a little bit vulnerable, but the risk feels good. Sign you're in love, number 3, you feel the goodwill returning to your heart. There are a lot of factors that make a relationship succeed, but one that will really make a huge difference is the balance in your emotional savings account. Now, I'm sure you know what it feels like to have that account go into overdraft, right? Right at the end of a relationship that's gone a little bit too far, maybe taken a little bit too much out of you, you feel depleted, wiped out, bankrupt. Now you feel that your heart is full again. You can invest in the relationship without having to worry about getting your emotional money back right away. You can make small loans and see if they pay you back. Remember though, love is getting loved in return. That lame poetic nonsense that you hear about loving somebody with no expectation of getting anything back is a myth. Yeah, eventually, you got to give with no expectations, but eventually you do need to get something back for it to be a relationship. Most of our problems with relationships comes from our unrealistic expectations of them. All right, so let's jump right in. How are you going to make him fall in love with you? Secret trick number 1 is you got to delight his mind. Men really want to know that you're his friend first. I know, I can hear the laughter already. Did you just find yourself chuckling at that thought? It's true. For all his creepy sexual needs that he seems to want to pull you into bed for at the first chance he gets, a man also wants to turn this into something long term. But I got to give you a warning here. Most guys will never admit this. In fact, he'd prefer that you still believe that old nonsense about him being a commitment phobe and all men being commitment phobes and emotionally shut down. The truth is actually much more sobering. There's a dance here. He tries to get you in bed, you say no, 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 but you let him get a little bit further, and then he says no, and he tries again, and you say no, 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 and then you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's that tug of war that actually creates the real emotions of love in us. It's what we can't have and what we're constantly struggling over that makes us get passionate and obsessive about something. All right, force him to fall for you. Secret number 2 is to delight his tummy. Now, I know you've probably heard that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? Well, guess what? It is true. And even more true today than it has ever been. Mostly because, and let's be brutally honest here, most women don't know how to cook. Sorry to say. I mean, a recent study in the UK showed that only one woman, 1 in 6, knows how to cook. That's less than 16%. Now, I'm not just spewing some age-old message of chauvinism here. The simple fact is that we both know that a man has to have certain skills and qualities for you to find him attractive, right? Like confidence, a certain can-do attitude. That's a fact. And yes, guess what? The same thing is true for women. A guy will always be delighted to find a woman who can prepare a loving meal. Mostly because it's true what they say about how the love that you put into your cooking is the love that a man can expect back later. A man knows that you're going to be able to nurture him. Look, I was dating and single for about 25 years, and I can count on one hand, this hand or the other one, I don't care. I can count on one hand the number of women that could cook. And guess what? In the end, I married one of them. I'll let you figure that one out. Get him to fall in love. Secret trick number 3 is to delight his eyes. Look, compatibility is the most powerful primal force in romance, but I'm not talking about the kind of compatibility that you read about in online dating profiles and stuff like that. In reality, whether you two guys held lighters up at the same Hootie and the Blowfish concert in 1995 doesn't make any difference at all as to the quality of your relationship. And no, it doesn't matter at all if you have the same favorite color or if you watch the same TV shows. What matters is that he sees a kind of synchrony between you two, that you two appear to have more in common. From expressions of interest on your face to the smile you give him after you've deliciously feeling spent in the bedroom. All right, a man will be more likely to fall for you if you have a similar expression of emotion on your face. Yeah, this is a little bit weird, but it's true. The more facial expressions you share at the exact same time, in the same way, typically that means that you're going to feel a stronger bond of love between you. It's a weird quirk of psychology, so don't abuse that one, okay? All right, make him fall for you. Secret number 4 is to delight his heart. Men are happiest when a woman talks to him in a soft, affirming way. And by contrast, a man is most unhappy when a woman is communicating her discontent and grievances with him. And it goes without saying that you probably feel the same way about him, right? So be wary of how you communicate to a man about his shortcomings. Even if he's being a little bit negative and he's not telling you what you'd like to hear, you can't fall into that same trap of complaining to him about him. He's probably well aware of his own faults by now. What he's most likely waiting for is a woman who knows how to support him and motivate him through his shortcomings. That woman, well, it could be you if you want it. So be careful with your criticism. And finally, get him to fall crazy in love with you. Secret trick number 5 is to delight his ears. Men are visual, as I'm sure you know by now. You probably hear that all the time. But did you know that he's also very auditory, meaning he uses his ears quite a bit? A man can be very aroused and inspired with the right words. So when you know what kind of things to say to a guy, and you will inevitably have a leg up when it comes to getting his heart to open to you. If you want him to fall for you, you need to say the words that a man needs to hear. Here's a couple of the things that he needs to hear from you. The first is words of respect. A man needs to know you respect him. It's the report card that basically his masculinity needs to see how well he's doing in the relationship. Is he doing a good job being a man? Words of desire. A man needs to know you want him so badly that you're ready to tear his shirt off and pull him down on top of you the second you guys walk through the front door. Just make sure the kids are already in bed or, staying over some friend's house. That'd be creepy. Words of appreciation. Oh, this one is so big, so huge, that I should just basically stop this video right now. If you make a man feel appreciated, he's going to lose control of his emotions. He's going to lose it all. He wants you like nothing else when you do this. Mostly because he never gets appreciation from a woman. We rarely, if ever, get it. The sincere, heartfelt kind. If you knew how rare it is for a man to get genuine, heartfelt appreciation, you'd probably drop everything you're doing right now, even shut off this video, and write a text to all of your guy friends with just a short message of gratitude. I'm not joking or exaggerating. It would astonish you how many of these guys would follow you around like lost little puppies. You'd probably have like 10 different stalkers on you. Now, what I want to do is show you how to get the word-for-word phrases that can make a man forget any other woman in his life and make him fall for you. Okay? It's true, you can do it with words. Certain specific phrases trigger love in a man's mind. They actually trigger something called his obsessive impulse in his brain. Now, if you want to know exactly what to say so that you can trigger him like this, and so he might change his mind about you or sit up and finally notice you or just come back to you and be in the relationship again, go on over to datingadviceguru.com/obsession, or just click the little link you see below this video. And let's go through the checklist. Number 1, you gotta make sure you subscribe to this because I don't want you missing any of my videos, so subscribe. Number 2, leave your comments below, so if you got any questions, I can get to them. And of course, number 3, like the video, right? Wait a minute, this is Facebook, right? What do you do on YouTube? Just like it, that's all you gotta do. All right, this is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. As always, live and love with passion.